Good morning. Okay, you guys. I'm late. Crazy morning already. My kids called. Honestly, I was about to start this close to 9 o'clock, and I feel like a very fortunate man. My daughter called and we chatted for a while, and then my son Regan called he's in London, and we talked for an hour. It's so easy to talk for an hour with him, so we talked about all the same things I'm about to share with us now, and the idea that we're asleep. Okay, let's start from there and back. See if we can unpack that. What does that mean when people say to us, and I think that those of you who are listening to this conversation are people who've heard this, that we're living in an illusion, that we're asleep, that life is a dream, and so it's not that life is a dream, it's that we're dreaming life. And so we're in our mind thinking that we know. So very quickly, like almost instantly, we're assessing meaning, we're assessing value, we're measuring everything around us, like instantly. And it's all based on what's in our concepts or our belief systems or ideas in our thinking, and what we, for the most part, don't realize is that they're flawed. So we're standing in the middle of Earth, in the middle of life, and saying that the world needs to change, and yet we're not looking at ourselves and what does change look like for us, and we're thinking that everything needs to change outside of us and not inside, and how does that happen? So this is the key, if we, first of all, the promise. Here's the promise that many of us, all of us, I would say, are not living in our full potential. And the reason that we're not living in our full potential is because of our skewed beliefs about ourselves and the world. We have often a belief that we're not good enough, or that there's not enough. There's a limiting beliefs about the planet. There's not enough money around. There's not enough of opportunity. There's not enough. So we have these beliefs, and they're not true. So to just examine our beliefs and try to change them doesn't seem to work. It doesn't seem to work, and because of our belief of lack or our belief of limiting supply, we often live in fear. We're in a place of I got to get more, and so we're it looks like greed or so we're fear-based life, and so even if that one thing shifted completely, that there was nothing but abundance. There is abundance, and we hear that all the time. I mean, oh my gosh, it's just the world is a world of plenty. There's unbelievable abundance, but yet there's a whole other school of thought that says no, there's not enough. There's too many people on the planet. There's not enough, and we can't. I got to get mine, and I got to hoard it. And we live in a world of mine. And don't touch my stuff, and my little trinkets, my little things that and so we hold on to. We because of that we lock our doors, and we have security systems, and we because we of fear, and it may be somewhat rightfully so. We live in a world where people might come and steal our stuff because of their fear of lack, but how do we surrender all of that? First I think we have to be conscious. So conscious of the practice of judging. So we're always judging. That's the deal. Our mind just does it. And can we surrender? We have to slow down enough and be aware enough and watch the moment, be in the moment, be present in the moment, and see what's happening. That's where we're in the dream state, is because we're not watching. We're not watching. We're just on autopilot, and the mind is continually making up scenarios and meaning. It's a meaning-making machine. So how do we step out of the mind just for a couple of minutes? One of the things that I did recently was last year was the Enlightenment Intensive exercise that Trevor Thibodeau does. He's going to do one again in October, and I totally recommend it. Totally, it's an amazing process of asking for 3 days, maybe even a little bit more than 3 days, asking who you are. Tell me 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 who you are. And it goes on and on and on. And the mind eventually, if we're lucky, pops. And it's like, oh, I'm not all of that. I'm not who I thought I was. I'm not my identity. I'm not, the story that we have about ourselves. And when we release that story, when we surrender that story, what happens is that we begin to live in the moment. We can live here. And this is where this connection with the oneness happens. This awakening happens to us, that, there is no separateness from us and divinity. We are divine beings. And in that awareness, and it's not from the intellect, it's a knowing that comes. It's like, oh, okay. So all of that other stuff from my intellect, from my mind, from my belief systems, from my conditioning is just story. I explained it to a guy the other day, like having a laptop with a lot of information in it, like a lot of information in it, but running our life from this laptop, totally disconnected from the cloud, so we had no access to Google. We were unplugged, and we're running around, trying to run our lives based on, sometimes really old information. Maybe, some of our teachings are that we're all about right and wrong and good and bad and fear-based, and we've got these teachings or ideas we had about ourselves when we were a child, maybe, because we were really confused with our sexuality, and maybe, we just had some really funny ideas about ourselves, and so we've got these, and that's all we've got. And then somebody plugs us into the cloud. And this is just a metaphor, and all of a sudden we see it all. It all becomes like, oh my gosh, it's our natural state to be plugged into. We are actually in the cloud in a way. We're already in it, but somehow we've disconnected by fear. And so when the door opens, it's like, oh my gosh, this is so beautiful, and it's unconditional love. We see that all those around us are living in a dream and living in fear, and so anyway, consciousness, be present, be here now. You start to see it, ask for it, see in prayer, if you will, set the tone, set the context to be shown, to be connected, to be one with. and it comes. It does. It's there for us, and it's not some mystical thing. It's not some special thing for only a few. It's really there for us all. So that's the deal. Oh, you guys. Hopefully, sometimes I go on a bit. So I was going to read again. This all started, these morning talks started because I started reading this book, which is called the 24-Hour Day Book. And I started reading the 1st of May, I think. Now we're the 6th of August. And so we've been reading it. And this guy wrote this in 1954. And it was written for recovering alcoholics. And the great thing about recovering addicts and alcoholics is they're freaking motivated. They're motivated to get out of their old idea about themselves. Even though the mind creeps in and says, oh, I got it now. And the neat thing about the 12 steps is that if they have a sponsor they trust, and the sponsor says, relax, it's coming, just settle down, because often the recovering alcoholic after a few months thinks that he's better. And it's not that we're not better, it's that we go back to our old ways, which are selfishly based, fear-based. And when we're operating from the small brain, from the laptop instead of the cloud, when we're unplugged, we make decisions that get us in trouble, and fear creeps in, and the pain of that fear is there, the pain of separation is there, and we drink or use to medicate, and it worked in the beginning, but it doesn't work anymore, so or we find a girlfriend. We find a guy. We go somewhere so we don't have to feel, But awakening is the way, and helping others is one of the ways to really see ourselves, because we see ourselves in them, and it's like, holy shit, can't they see? And then can I see? It's beautiful. It's a beautiful loop of helping others to awaken, awakens us. Helping others to awaken awakens us, and that's what happens in the 12 steps. August the 6th says, he wrote in 1954, psychologists are turning to religion because just knowing about ourselves is not enough. Yes. A man needs the added dynamic of faith in a power outside of himself, outside of the ego, in which he can rely. Books on psychology and psychiatry and psychiatric treatments are not enough. Without the strength that comes from faith in God, or this moment, or awareness, or oneness, without that faith, it's not enough. Without the strength that comes from faith in God. And ministers and priests are turning to psychology because faith is an act of the mind and will. Religion must be presented in psychological terms to some extent in order to satisfy the modern man. The modern man. He's talking about the modern man of 1954. It's amazing. Faith must be built largely on our own psychological experience. And the question, he always asks a question with a thought for the day, have I taken what I need from both psychology and religion when I live the AA way? So we don't talk much about religion anymore, but we talk about spirituality. Because often religion is a path, again, another belief system, and unless it's a path to awakening to the moment, to the experience of life and love, it can be just a path of standards or direction, and which some of us need, having standards or direction, I think can be really helpful for those of us at different stages of our awakening. Meditation for the day. Refilling with the Spirit is something you need every day. Yes, for this refilling of the Spirit, we need these times of quiet communion, away, alone, without noise, without activity. We need this dwelling apart, this shutting ourselves away in the very secret place of our being, away, alone with our Maker. From these times of communion, we come forth with the new power. This refilling is the best preparation for effective work. Brings us into our full potential for effective work. When we are spiritually filled, there's no work too hard for us. When we're spiritually filled, yes, one with Spirit, one with God, one with the moment. Prayer for today. I pray that I may be daily refilled. I pray that I may be daily refilled with the right Spirit. I pray that I may be full of the joy of true living. I pray that I may be full of the joy of true living. True living, of course, is in this moment, now, free from doubt, free from judgment, free from guilt, free from anger, free from complaint. Imagine. So, remember that it's a world of plenty, and stuff comes and goes on the outside. We take nothing with us. It comes and goes. So surrender each moment. Okay. Love you guys. Lots. Ambassadors of love. Happy, joyous, and free. Love it if you go to my YouTube channel too. YouTube. Check us out on YouTube. Valley and Beyond. Thanks. Bye.